Well, let's begin first by crossing to the nation's capital in Washington and speak to our correspondent, Kethevane Gorjestani. Hello to you, Kethevane. You've been covering this divisive campaign, and just remind us what's at stake on Election Day in America.
Well, the main focus, of course, is which party will control the House and will control the Senate at the end of these midterms. Of course, talking about the House first, the Republicans are expected to win in the House. The question is how big that win will be. We're going to be looking at some early results on the East Coast and several close districts where we could see a sort of tendency to see whether Republicans will be doing better than expected or whether this will be an average midterm win for the party that is not in power. Now, in the Senate, things are much different. Things are much closer. It's still a toss-up as to who will be controlling the Senate once all the final results will be in, and that will come down to a handful of key races in states where, as you said, our correspondents are going to be reporting live, and those races will likely determine who controls the Senate. The stakes are as high because, of course, if Joe Biden loses either the House or the Senate, or even worse, if he loses both, that will be basically the end of his legislative agenda. Even if he loses only the House, the Republicans are going to be blocking pretty much all of his major ideas. And he himself, the president, just a couple of days ago, acknowledged that it would be very, very difficult for the two coming years.
Kethevane, we've identified battleground states here at France 24. A handful of states will be following very closely. Until those races are called, are there any other places that could serve as sort of a bellwether for how the night is going as results come in?
Well, there are a few races, for example, in Virginia, in districts that are close to Washington, D.C., where these are races where the Democrats did well back in 2020. They were these sort of moderate Democrats, and they managed to help Joe Biden get that majority. But the key here is to see whether those results that likely will be coming in pretty soon, we'll see there whether we're seeing maybe the Republicans sort of beating those incumbent Democrats. I'm thinking, for example, of Yesli Vega, the Republican. This is a race to watch. If she can win, if other Republicans can win in these very close races in Virginia, where you're seeing a Republican against a moderate Democrat, that will be probably the indication that it will be a bad night for Democrats. If those Democrats can hold on to their seat, then maybe there's a little bit of hope. Other things to watch out for, and we're already getting some results from the state of Florida. Florida was once called a battleground state, and now the question, when you're looking at some of these results, like Governor Ron DeSantis, who is projected to be reelected as governor by a landslide, the question is that still a battleground state, or have the Republicans made some very huge gains in Florida, especially in areas where Democrats still managed to hold on to a majority in past years, whether that has changed. So some of these early East Coast races might be a good indication of what's to come.
Indeed. All right. Thank you very much, Kethevane Gorjestani, reporting from Washington.